Well, I hope you all watched the previous videos to see how I got the Chevelle body to where it is today with new floorboards, all painted up and seam sealed. It's been a long process for me, but the whole goal of this project is to pull this old decrepit car that I've been holding on to for 20 years into my shop, complete it to a driving point in just one winter. I'm trying to do it as cheap as possible, take that with a grain of salt, but just trying to make it a little bit better than it was the day before. So I've got about, 6 months total to work on this thing, and I'm using all the parts that I've had and collected over the years, and that's just the whole gist of the project. But today's an exciting day for me because I'm finally done messing with this body for now, and I get to pull out this frame. So I've ordered suspension for this frame. I got some inner fender wells sitting right here and a bunch of mess and garbage to get to. So I'm going to try to swap these over in position so I can start the process of getting this frame torn down, and I'm excited to show y'all what I got planned for this. So stay tuned and watch. And if you haven't subscribed, please, I appreciate it. Let's get started into this video. Car and frame and body are switched. First time that frame's moved since I pulled the whole project in here and took it apart. Another big step, getting ready to start on this thing. So now I just need to assess. First off, I'll be happy when this snow stops so I don't have to leave this space clear to park my truck, because then I can pull this frame over, and the plan is to put it on this lift and start tearing it apart. But before I get to that, and while I'm using this side of the shop to park my daily, I need to find a spot for all of these parts and maybe look through some of the stuff and see what I'm keeping, what I'm not. I'm scared to throw anything away because I don't know what I'm going to use as I start to put this back together, but I need a better storage setup because right now it's just been collecting parts. So let's figure that out so that I can actually look at the frame and assess what I need to do next. Okay, I got the frame uncovered. Looking at it again, feels like the first time all over. Kind of assessing this thing now that I'm got a plan together as far as working on it. Kind of putting two and two together on what I need and how everything's ran. It is, it's honestly not that bad. It just feels terrible because I went from working on stuff like this to getting it in a somewhat presentable, cleanish state, and now I'm back to looking at all this dirty work. So here's a good look at the frame before I get started. I've said it in a previous video, I think it was one of the first videos that I got the frame and body separated, that it's not, it looks rough, but a lot of this is like I guess it'd be factory coating. Like that's just like flaky stuff, but it's just surface rust on top of all of it. I have not come across any actual rusted hold metal yet, so that's good. We'll do some more investigating as I start taking this thing apart. But like the top of the buckets look good, the braces look good. It's just a lot of flaking, undercoating, and surface rust everywhere, so we'll have a better look once I start cleaning this thing up and taking all these parts off. But overall, I would say the frame is in good condition, good enough to keep going at it. It's not like it needs any serious work. The only spot that I saw that I had some rust so far is this body mount, the front body mount around the edge As you can see, it started to eat out a little bit. This bolt broke when I was trying to take it off. And it looks like it's a little bit thin around the edges. So I'll clean that up a bunch, but I'll probably end up patching this one corner just because I'm here. It's open and easy to do. So I'll cut out a patch, weld in a thicker piece of metal than this frame is even made of, so that it's stronger and more sturdy than it ever was from the factory, and then get rid of that little bit of rot right there. Since it is a body mount, I'd like to have it nice and solid, but that's the only piece that I saw that even had a little bit of like actual thinning of the metal. But anyways, yeah, so in order to do all of this, I need to be over here, and the weather has been so crappy I've had to keep this truck inside. I haven't had to, but it's been nice and enjoyable to keep my truck inside. Alright, I'm tired of waiting. Got the old big girl parked outside. She's gonna have to stay out here. I'm ready to keep moving on this frame. And this ice is something terrible. Snow and then ice on top. I can drive my truck on it and it doesn't even break. I did get, hopefully I just put this in the video. I got a big chunk of ice off the caddy, so that's a little bit better. Also need to cover up the Chevelle with plastic. So, little field trip. Go grab this plastic, and while I'm doing it, I had a guy comment on one of my videos. So this would have been like 2 weeks ago. So I'm just now getting to answer that guy's comment. His question was, or his statement was, I can't, whoa, I'll bust my butt out here. His statement was, I can't comprehend how you have that Cadillac sitting outside and not inside one of your buildings. Well, the simple answer to that is I don't have enough room. If I can make it over here to this building, I will show you. But y'all see the inside of the shop. That shop has got, or that garage has got my motorcycles in it, and it is completely packed, no room left. So then I put this building up, and the problem with putting a building up is you stack it full. So if I can get over here without dying. To answer that fellow's question, this is why it's not inside. This is my 72 El Camino. That's my candy painted lawnmower, even though it doesn't take a whole lot of room, I just threw it in here. This is my 1980 last restoration project. Everything underneath of it's exactly like the Chevelle, completely redone with the exception of the outside body. I kept the patina. And then the third bay over here is my wife's 63 Cadillac that I painted 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now. Yeah. And then in front, I've got a 250R Honda that is waiting to be restored. I got a 200S, a bunch of parts and junk, some go-karts from the previous couple videos, and then just storage elsewhere. So to answer your question in long form, I guess, I don't have it inside because I don't have any room inside. This 63, that 80, and then my 72 El Camino are inside. The other one's full of motorcycles, and that one is full of rust, dust, and Chevelle stuff. So I'm hoping one day I have a shop big enough and add on to this shop to be able to put my extra toys inside. But currently, that one fits the bill for being outside, so that's the one that stays outside. Adds to the patina. So let me grab some plastic, and then I'll catch you guys inside. Also, if you're interested in any of these cars, let me know. Maybe I'll make some videos on this after the Chevelle's done. And if you're interested in this one, I have a full playlist right next to the Chevelle playlist of the full restoration I did on that one. So check that out. Also, candy painted lawnmower. I got videos of that. Probably can't see it in here, but it's got metal flake in it. So lots of projects, lots of fun stuff, but if you want to see more on the El Camino, I don't think I've ever had that on the channel really. And I think I do have the painting video of the pink Cadillac. So check those out, or comment down below if you want me to jump on one of these next and show you more about them, give you more videos on them. Comment, and maybe I'll put a video together after the Chevelle's done. All right, got my plastic to cover the Chevelle up, and I forgot to point one out. I also have a video on me making the mellow yellow car out of a go-kart body, cold trickle style. Did all of those decals and painted it myself. So you can check that out. I guess while I'm doing show and tell, I'll give you all a peek in there to my motorcycles. If you're not interested, skip forward about 20 seconds. And then I got a 2002 Dyna Wide Glide, 2002 carbureted Road King. I did the paint job on that one. 1984 Evo Tour Glide Harley Davidson with the sidecar. Just got that one on the road not too long ago. Then tucked over here in the corner with a few goodies that I haven't talked about yet is my supercharged 2016 V-Rod. And this is a 1972 Honda CB750 drag bike. So yeah, running out of room. I need more garage space. Let me know if you have some. All right, let's get back to it. The next step is going to be the disassembly of all of this. So I covered up the Chevelle because I'm trying to minimize how much gunk I get put in that, because this is just going to be a absolute mess. So I don't know, kind of looking forward to it, getting back into the dirty side of this project. So all of this garbage is coming off. So oof, I gotta psych myself up for this. All right. I don't have any weight on this spring. Normally you can put a jack underneath these things and loosen one of the ball joints and use the weight of the car to keep the spring compressed. But since I don't have any weight and it's just a bare frame, when I loosen this ball joint up, there's really nothing holding that spring compressed. So it's just going to shoot out. Well, it has the potential to shoot out. So if you're not aware, you gotta be careful doing this. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of tension on it, and I've got this in here between the ball joint, and normally if they're under a lot of tension, they're really tight. I'm going to hope that that assumption is correct, and this spring doesn't come flying out at me, but just in case, I've got you all watching on video. So we'll see how this goes. Got everything loose, not much holding on. So I'm kind of just gonna try to zip it off real quick and stay out of the way. Hopefully it works. That's almost more scary. Nothing happened. Now what do? I hate springs. I feel like it's getting ready to pop out. Oh, you idiot. Alright. False alarm. Oh man. It's the shock. The shock is holding. Okay. That's what I was expecting to happen. That's loose. Alright, no more tension. See too many videos of these things popping out and hurting people. We're gonna rather take it slow. So at least now I know what to expect from the other side. But passenger side spring out. I'm gonna go with the same approach as I did last time to try to stay out of the line of fire. Hopefully. See how it goes. There it is. It come loose that time. Holy cow. That thing did not want to let go. Woo! Shoot. I done messed up my daggone pry bar. Got a nice blunt end on that now. Thank goodness. Shoot! Goodness gracious. No blood blister yet. That's good news. If I haven't said it, and it's not obvious enough, don't remove a spring like that. Because 9 times out of 10 it'll probably go okay. And 1 time it won't. So I'll probably revisit that the next time that I take a spring out. And at least tie the spring, maybe a strap to the spring, to the rest of the frame, and that way it can't shoot out. been a bit of a mess. Fought me a little bit, but I believe this will be the magic moment. Aha! It's just a frame and one fuel line. And the leftover air shock line from a time long forgotten. That's how you used to hot rod back in the day. A little T, air fitting, onto some air shocks, piker up in the back. Hopefully that's long gone. But yes, we have a frame that is for the most part naked. And it snowed again. And it snowed again. Not as much as last time. The caddy was clean, so about a half inch or so. So tired of this winter snow, cold weather. Ready for it to be warm again. But let's get started cleaning on this thing. Got me a new car, folks. The Chevelle project has a new powertrain. And I'm driving it down the road. Hopefully it goes well. Film a lot because it's a little sketchy. 'Cause it's a little sketchy. But here we are, driving the Chevelle Powertrain home. Hopefully this goes well. Wish me luck. I'll talk more about it when I get back. Well, we made it back home. It was a little sketchy because I could only go about 45 miles an hour. I guess the balance is off or something's going on in the front end because it was shaking like crazy. But we made it home. It is sitting here running. Sounds pretty good. Other than the shaking in the front end, the 6-speed works great. She's not pretty to look at, but that's the important part there. Okay, now let's get started on this thing. Okay, it is way too cold and even more windy outside, so sorry I'm not out there talking about the car right now, but I'll overlay the pictures that I took, or maybe just a walk around video when it gets a little bit warmer. But yeah, that's the thing I've been working on in behind the scenes. And I think I said it a few videos ago that I've been looking at this powertrain that I wasn't quite looking for really. I just kind of fell into my lap, and then I got to thinking, I was like, you know what? That would be really cool. So cat's out of the bag now. You know what I got? A Corvette with a 6-speed in it. Like I said, I wasn't looking for this, but once I found it, I was like, you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. The whole idea on this build, as far as the powertrain went, was I was going to just rebuild and kind of put together a stock 350, put a very, very mild everything on it, and just new gaskets, whatever, and then run the standard, I think, either my Turbo 400 or Turbo 350 automatic transmission. But then I was going to put like a 290 gear in it, was what I was going to do. And what that means is it would be very sluggish at low speeds. So it'd have no grunt out of the hole, but that would put me at a much better gear ratio for like interstate driving, like going 60, 70 miles an hour. And that's kind of what I wanted to do with this car. I wanted it to be very, very easy and smooth going down the interstate or highways, because I want to travel in it with the family. So that was my solution. It was kind of make it gutless so that it was more happy out on the interstate running lower RPM. But then I saw this and I was like, well, wait a minute. Those things actually got pretty decent fuel mileage back in the day, because that's a 6-speed and it actually comes up with a double overdrive. If I'm not mistaken, that 6-speed, it's a 1989 Corvette. I think they call it a ZF6 black tag because it's the first generation. It has like a 0.7 fifth gear and a 0.5 sixth gear. So it's got 2 overdrives in it. So I could still have fun from light to light in first, second, third. But once I get on the interstate, throw it over in 6th gear, and the thing's barely idling to go that fast. And I looked them up. I won't know until I actually get it in the car and working, but they suggested that they were getting in the mid 20 miles per gallon. So I know that's the shape of a wedge and a lot lighter than the brick that I'm putting together, but even if I got close to 20 miles per gallon, that would probably be better than I could get with a standard 350, and it'd be a lot more fun. I enjoy driving a manual. I'm sure most of you do. So I've been eager to get that one. With all the weather lately and everything going on, I haven't really been able to lock it down. I've been kind of bothering the guy. I feel bad because I've been bothering him so much to try to get the car, because I want to lock it in so that I can start figuring out what I need to do to this frame. So anyways, long story short, he texted me today, said he had a brief moment, so I shot over there, got the car, drove it home, got it in the driveway. It's blistering, freezing cold, winds 30 miles an hour, so I'm not out there looking at it right now. But the little bit I looked it over, it drove home fine. It seems like it's got a little bit of bad gas, maybe like a clogged injector or something, but to be expected. It hadn't been driven in like a year or two. So a little bit about the car. It is, like I said, a 1989 Chevrolet Corvette 6-speed manual. So the engine is the exact same 350 that I was going to put in it. It's still a 5.7 liter. It's before they went to like the LT1 and whatnot with the OptiSpark and all of their issues. So that's cool. It's just a standard small block, but it's got the tune port injection unit on top of it. So it's kind of like the last version of that small block with the most refined early version of their fuel injection before they went to like that LT1 and then later on to all the other motors. So it's still kind of old school enough, I feel like. And worst case scenario, if that fuel injection system doesn't work, I can just take it off, put an intake and a carburetor on it, and go from there. So what I'm going to try to do is take that car apart and use as most of the parts as possible. I'm going to try to use the instrument cluster. I'm going to try to use the air conditioner system, all of the wiring out of the car. My thought was if I could get 90% of what I need to stay stock out of that car and put it here, if I ever need parts for it, I'm either getting parts for a 1972 Chevelle or I'm getting parts for an 89 Corvette. So the least amount of custom I can do on that front, I feel like will be better. And then again, like I just said, worst case scenario, if I can't get the fuel injection system to work, if the wiring's a mess and the instrument cluster doesn't work, blah, 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 I'll just take it off and go back to something simple like a standard intake and a 4-barrel carburetor. But if I can get it to work, that'd be cool. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not quite ready to pull it apart yet, but I got it in the driveway so I can actually start pulling some data off of it, some measurements, and see what I got going on. The battery shut off on the time lapse when I was working on this a few hours ago, so I don't know where it cut off at yet, but I flipped the frame over, cleaned the underside of the frame, figured I'd go ahead and do that first, and then get everything straight on the bottom side, so when I flip it back over, I know that's all ironed out and I can just work on the top side. While I was doing it, I was very, very aggressive with the grinding and the wire wheel to try to pull out problem areas, areas that are thin, and I probably wouldn't have put holes in them, but since I was so aggressive, I did get holes, and that's fine. That was kind of the idea, because I'd rather pick apart any weak spots as it sits, and that way I can weld them up. So I went around and circled all the spots that I'm probably just going to weld back in. The worst of it was right here. And like I said, I was really aggressive, but obviously if it's just a wire wheel, so no matter how aggressive you get, this stuff was already thin. So it looks like right here on this passenger side bucket, I've got some metal to replace. And then right here, going up underneath the sway bar mounts. So these I will cut out and I will put new plate in. And I marked it like this because I'm just going to put it in 3 separate plates so that I don't have to worry about all those extra bins. But that was the worst of it. So I'm perfectly fine with that. That's really not that bad. Grand scheme of things, I could put it back together and it really wouldn't hurt anything, but I'm here, why not make it back to the structural integrity that it left the factory with? And most likely even better because I'm going to put thicker metal in it. So it was those spots, little hole here, little hole here, nothing down this side of the frame. One little spot here, and I ground that out a little bit, and it's where the 2 pieces of frame overlap. So it's really was just 3 holes. So I'm actually just going to put a plate here, and then weld them together. So that one wasn't that bad, but I made it open up because I wanted to fix it. And then on this side of the frame, a couple more small spots. One little sliver right there. And then that wasn't really even a rust hole. It was just where they missed a piece from the factory. So I'll weld that back up and then back to the original piece I was just talking about. So grand scheme of things on the bottom of the chassis, the frame, I'm happy with that. It's not as nearly as bad as a lot of them can be. So really all I have to do is focus on fixing this part. And the bottom of the frame is pretty good. So tomorrow morning, that's what I'll work on. Since I have the frame upside down, I'll go ahead, cut this out, fabricate some new panels, put them in, weld everything up, grind it down, and then flip the frame over and start working on the top side. All right. I'm just giddy and excited about that Corvette sitting in my driveway. Might be an old and decrepit Corvette, but it's still a 6-speed Corvette powertrain that I hopefully will have sitting in this frame underneath of that body cruising down the road. So very cool. Hope you all are enjoying this and maybe as excited as I am. I went through, like I said, and welded up all of the bad parts of the frame. And I'm sure you saw, I took some metal and reworked these areas. So maybe I'll put a little pop-up of before and after. But I got this section all cleaned up, new metal welded in, same here. The two bad spots. And then like the other stuff was just tiny little pinhole here and there that I cleaned up and put some new metal on. So that stuff's all fixed up, patched, and back in good shape. So won't have to worry about that. The small spots on the bottom of the frame that were a little weak or thin, I cut out and replaced. So happy with how that turned out. Much better than it was before. I don't plan on leaving this in here right now, but as you saw, I just got the shop cleaned up, so I figured I'd pull the Corvette inside just to take a gander at it. Let it spend one side inside night. Thanks for sticking around for that time lapse. If you didn't skip through it, then I guess you get a little bit of a bonus feature of seeing the Corvette moving, if that means anything. Assuming that it moves. So thanks for staying around. there it is, cold start, 20 degrees out. It's a little rich. There's no telling how old the gas is in this thing. That's just my battery charger cable, don't mind that. Got some pretty sweet wheels on it. She's a little worse for wear on the inside, but can barely read the dash. Seems to be a common problem. 6-speed tape player. Man, if I can get all of this stuff to transfer over, I'm going to transfer as much as humanly possible. I think it'll just make it easier later on down the road if it's all like stock Corvette stuff instead of every little piece being modified. So we'll see how that goes, but yeah, that's it. I'll give you a little idle and a rev to end out this little segment real quick. Like I said, she's a little rich, a little lean, something's not quite right. I'm sure it's got bad gas and probably junk in the injectors and all the good stuff, but it does fire up and run and drive down the road, so I think I've got something good to start with here. I can't wait to get started on this. It's going to be all new. I've never messed with any Corvette stuff. As a matter of fact, this is the first Corvette I've ever owned. So my introduction to the Corvette world is buying one to gut. Hopefully the Corvette guys aren't too mad, but hopefully I'm making something cool out of it. Okay everyone, this is what I got so far. We've come a long way in this video. Started with the frame, with all the suspension, the rear end, control arms, springs, transmission, power steering pump, all that junk was on the frame when we started. Got it all torn down, all that stuff out of the way, and then did the long, painful process of cleaning it up, dealt with all the rust, dust, and all that mess. But got it done, and it's cleaned up, and it's ready to paint. The last thing I'm going to do to the frame, like I was saying, is I'm going to plate. Oh, hold on, a little dirty. I'm going to plate the frame I just mocked up one little piece. I'm gonna go through all of these body mounts and just put an extra plate on the top. I feel like it's just above and beyond. I don't have to do it, but I'm going to. So that's gonna be the setup going forward. I don't think it's gonna cause a whole lot of problems. And if anything, it should just add a bunch of strength right there. That's where the rubber puck goes. The difference in that plate can be squished in the rubber puck. So I don't think you'll notice, or anybody will notice a difference, but it should make that area stronger. So I'll treat everything, weld those plates in, and then basically the frame will be done, ready to paint. I think I'm gonna hold off on painting because I'm gonna be moving this frame around in the shop. So I don't wanna paint it and then have to deal with being careful and not messing the paint up. So it's ready to paint. I'm gonna scooch it over here, and then the next part of my video series is gonna be pulling the Corvette in. That's what's next. So pulling the Corvette in, start tearing that thing apart, pull the motor, pull the transmission, try to kind of get the engine as a standalone unit and possibly set it in the frame and see what's going on. But I wanna get all that stuff out and kind of set in the shop. So that's the next step. That's the next video. So stay tuned for that. What do y'all think? Should I keep the fuel injection system that's currently on the Corvette, or should I switch over to a different intake and run a carburetor on that setup? I'm kind of leaning towards keeping that fuel injection. It's not the best fuel injection in the world, but it's also not the worst. It's not that kind of older TBI setup. It's a tuned port injection system on it. From what I read, they seem to be pretty decent. So for what they are, if I can get them to work, I'm thinking about going that direction. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think I should do. Fuel injection, carbureted. Let me know your thoughts. Frame's clean, disassembled and cleaned and ready to paint. Next video, Corvette disassembly. So I appreciate y'all watching. I've gotten a lot of new followers based off this Chevelle build. So if you could, like, subscribe, hang out. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Catch y'all in the next video. Sunday at 5.